The same time that I bought my little bug that you might have seen me building in a previous video, the same seller from eBay was selling this. Whenever I buy something, I always make sure see what the same seller might be selling, and I found this quite interesting little buggy thing. It's got two of these motors that you see on various kits in eBay, and just quite simple circuitry there. So I bought it, and here it is. So this was a D2 intelligent tracking smart car robot DIY kits with TT motor wheel electronic. Alright, so there are the battery pack, a couple of motors and gearboxes with sticky pads on, and then the electric components there. This is weird, I keep on looking at that in the packet and thinking it was a spring, but it's just the way that the colours are on the ribbon cable. Interesting. And so a few resistors, couple of light dependent resistors, couple of normal LEDs, switch and a little chip. Can't see what that is at the moment. And some wheels. So that's quite simple. There's a circuit board. Again, not a lot of things on there. Reasonably nicely printed. The tracks look very coppery. They don't look brassy like more expensive boards look. This wasn't that much. How much was this? About £5 UK. So it doesn't look too complicated. Let's have a look at the instructions. Alright, so the instructions are completely in Chinese. Little circuit board there. And even the components are written in Chinese, although it does say LED and CD5 and some measurements there. We might be able to get away with it. Let's have a look at the board. Well, obviously there's two semiconductors on there, that's alright. R4 3.3K, so right, so we might be able to get away with it. So let's have a look at where I might start on this. So let's do the resistors first. There are quite a few resistors. Looks like there are several different flavours of resistors as well. Let's move that to the side. So I think what I'll do is, what I normally do is I will just measure a resistor and see where it goes. So let's start with these two. Bring my gadget in. So these are the same. And just pop that in there to test it. So that is a resistor, and it's about 1000 ohms, so 1k. So let's have a look at this. So 1k resistor, there's two 1k resistors. That sounds good. There were two of these, and that's R7 and R8. Alright, so R7 and R8. So there's R7 and R8. So next to each other, it does say 1k on the board. Alright, so this should be okay. So let's pop both of those in. Far enough away that I'll do them separate. I'll do them at the same time. R7 and R8. The diddy little bit of blue tack I've got. One of the blue tacks escaped somewhere on my desk. Let's just do that. Should be easy. I'll tell you one thing that I thought I might do is just strike some of these pads with flux. See whether that works. Don't know whether it will have a bearing on it, but it might make things a little bit easier. So I might make the solder flow everywhere, who knows. Alright, so seems to work nicely. Yeah, nice bit of solder flow on that. And clip those off. So I'm probably going to fast forward through the resistors. It's not going to be much to watch, so let's do that. I'm going to do the same thing, fast forward. You can always pause it if you want to see what's got to go where. So I'll see you in the future. Okay, so that's the resistors gone in. They were quite straightforward. There were 4 different types, some paired up and some 4 of 2 pairs of others. Alright, so next thing I will do is put the chip carrier in. All this is okay, that looks all right. IC1, make sure I get it the right way round. And I'm just going to bend these out a little bit just to hold it in place. I think I will use the obligatory blue tack as well. Just to keep it there. I don't think I fluxed this side, so I'm going to do that as well. Definitely helped the soldering. Well, the solder went on smoothly on those other pads, so it's worth just trying anything that can help the solder to flow more easier. Alright, I'll fast forward this again. Okay, that was a very simple one, and for once I soldered some ICs on and I didn't, whoops, and I haven't bridged it, so that was alright. So now what? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the transistors, and I've never checked the transistors before on this. So this is supposed to be, if I can find it, Q1 and Q2. It says they're 8550s. 8550s. So let's see what the tester says about these. I can actually put 3 leads in for a change. Probably just blow them straight away. Right, one more fiddly to put 3 in. There you go. What does it say? Oh, so it's a PNC transistor. So a nice little diagram of that. Quite interesting little bits of information, but it doesn't say the number of it, but it's just doing the characteristics, so that number could be linked to a manufacturer, so that doesn't really matter. Alright, so let's put these in. Q2, they're both the same. Q2, making sure that I've got the flat of the semiconductor pointing in the right direction. That's one. They're both pointing in the same direction on the board, so it must be wired. One assumes this is maybe some drivers for the motor. One for one motor, one for the other motor, and there's a parallel circuit or symmetrical circuit each side. Maybe. Right. Alright. Relatively easy. I have to be slightly quicker with soldering transistors so you don't damage them with the heat, but hopefully they were okay. They don't feel that hot, so I think I got away with it. Right, now the next thing is the LEDs. Now I'm having a bit of difficulty with the LEDs. I'm going to assume that these LEDs are infrared. They might not be, or they might just be bright ones, and they are paired with the light dependent resistors. But I can't tell on this. There's 4 LEDs. One's 3.0, one's 5.0, and I don't know what the difference is. It doesn't tell me the difference in them. So what I'm going to do is look at the photo. Now it looks like the red LEDs are on the top of the board, and then the white ones, this is interesting, the white ones are with the full length of their lead and down by the thing. So this is what must sense the line it's got to follow. So I have to be careful I don't cut those leads too short. So let's do the top ones to begin with. I'll do everything on the top of the board first. So this should be relatively easy. Alright, now here's the thing. So normally the flat of the LED, the flat side, which I can't find on that one, is that bit. But I'm just going to test these and see what happens with it. See if this gives me a circuit diagram. So on this one the long lead is that side. So the long lead is the arrow pointing. So positive comes in and then goes out. So if I look at this, the long lead there positive, yeah, whoops, if I look at that, it's pointing that way. So if I flip that round and put the positive in the long triangle, the side of the triangle bit, and that should be okay. Now to make sure these are level, I'm going to do these one by one. Long lead in to the base of the triangle. Oops. Okay, and give those a little trim. Oh, actually, I bridged that one there. There you go, relatively easy to correct. Alright, so now what shall I do next? I will do the variable resistors. So are these different? No, they're both 10k. So I'll do these both together. So one goes in there. Actually, no, I won't. I'll do these one by one. They're going to be too hard to stick down. So there's one. These can only go in one way around, so that's good, and I'm not having to bend the leads or anything on these, they're just going straight in, so that's nice. Oh, there's the second one. Alright, again quite easy. And the switch. So it's 3x3 switch as well, 2x3. hopefully that will go in. The legs on this are a little bit squiff. Alright, well that's going to help it hold itself in. Can't tell whether I've joined these or not, put a little bit too much solder on, so I'm just going to remove it all and then just put a dab back on. Can't tell whether I've got a track between them by accident. I'm still not convinced that I haven't joined them. I'll need to test those together. Alright, let me just test these. I think they're alright now, but okay, nothing there. Alright, so they're not joined up between individual ones. Yeah, so those two are joined up when the switch is on. When the switch is off, there you go. So I've not got any problems with joining those two. Alright, so let's carry on then. What next? So I'm going to put the big capacitors in. They look the same, so they should be okay. So the positive is the long lead, and then the minus is normally the white band there. So long lead into positive, minus in there. It should be hold themselves in position. 1, 2, yeah. And 3, 4. Alright, so now the next is this set of components which are all to do with the line following. So these, look, I'm going to make sure that I do them the same size. Now they're approximately, they're pretty much the same size, so there's not going to be much here that I need to fiddle with. So the positive of that lead goes in there. I also notice from the picture that this goes down as well, so I need to make sure. This seems to be, you see here, this seems to hold the position off the floor. So if you look at that, it does look as if the bolt is holding the LEDs off the floor, so the LEDs need to be a little bit further in. So I will try well, I'll try it about there. And what I'll do, I won't cut these leads, because then I can maybe slide them in or out afterwards, because they won't be in the way because they're sticking up. Alright, so let's solder those into place, and then I'll do everything else based on that distance. Little helping hand. So you see, I've got them sticking out about 7mm, something like that. Do the same with this one. This is marked, put plus and minus on the bottom, so long lead to plus. And then I'll try and get those looking the same distance out. Looks about right. Tack that in. Straighten him up a little bit. And then do the other one. Okay, it's a pity I can't just put them on the floor like that and then get the others at the same height, but that's not going to work because they are, there's no solder pads on the top of the board. So anyway, in LDR I don't think it matters the way it goes round. If you look at it, it looks very uniform. So I'll do the same thing, try and get it to look nice, about the same distance from the floor, and then stick it in position. I've seen little buggies with a little infrared barcode follower, and I'm wondering whether this is just the manual way of doing it. The barcode follower has an emitter and a sensor in it, and this isn't much different. Right, that heat of that, just move that to the side. I'm just going to straighten him out a bit. That was hot, and there, I've bridged that again, I think. Yeah, make a mess of this one there. That might have done it. Okay, that one was quite fiddly. Now the other one. It does seem now that I've got, that's just about right. I think I might need to just go in a little bit with these two, so let's see whether this will work. If I put the soldering iron between them, let it sneak in a bit. No, it didn't work. Let's bridged it again. that's got the size perfect. Just alright, so there you go. Seems about as equal as I can get it, and I can always adjust that. Alright, so what's next? Well, it's looking like that's pretty much done. So let's put the power on. So this has got a sticky label on it, and the power goes in through there. So let's do the sticky label that side. Wondering what these two little holes are for. Probably regret not knowing that. There's two little screws here. Don't know whether they have anything to do with it, but because you've got the sticky label, it doesn't matter. And let's thread those through there. I might do a bit of neat winding on this to make it look as if I know what I'm doing, which I don't. Right then, let's cut that about there. Pop those out, tin them. And hopefully one of these is positive. So it looks like that one there is positive. There's a little plus there I can just about make out. Let's see. Yeah, battery positive. So the square one is positive. This is where a little pair of tweezers would come in handy for my big fists. I'm going to put some solder on the pads first. So positive, that's gone alright, and negative, they're very, very close together. So hopefully if I pop that there, I should just be able to push down on it. And then that's got positive on there. And the same thing for negative. Trying not to get them too close to each other so that they don't interfere. Yeah, that seems good enough. Alright. So nearly there. I might... I'll wait a little bit. Oh, I wonder whether... No, those are glued on. What are the screws for? I know what the screws are for. The screws are for putting the wheels on. Right, okay, so these holes are superfluous. Or indeed spare. Now, if they go on there like that, I think I'm going to solder wires on there first, then solder it to that, then stick these on. Then I've got room to see. So let's use this slightly annoying spring that isn't. and do these. I've just noticed that the motor doesn't say plus or minus, so my plan to put these on in advance might be scuppered. Alright, so let's get the other side ready as well. I'm just going to leave this the full length. I ought to test whether these work first, but I don't know what voltage they are really, so I'll just get on with it. My kits never seem to work the first time anyway, so right, that's all of them, and do the same for this one as well. Alright, now I've been thinking about how I should possibly do this. Needs to go that side, so I'm going to solder these on before I stick them on, see whether I can work out how this works before, well, I can still get at these terminals and swap them around if I've got them the wrong way, but we'll see. Then I could always shorten these leads as well once I'm certain the way that they go on. Alright, so all that remains then is to take the bolt that I've lost, pop it in there, then it looks like this goes on next. And then that goes on the outside of it. Clever. And then I will pop that on there. It's keyed just about, if I can get it in the right way. So the wheels should only go on one way. There you go. I'm not going to screw these up at the moment. Well, I probably will screw it up, but I'm not going to screw these on yet. Alright, so all that remains is to put the chip in and then put some batteries in. So in goes the chip. Now to get some batteries. So make sure it's turned off, and in we go. Let's see what happens. Oh, well, something was definitely happening there. So theoretically, to begin with, if you turn it on, both wheels should be moving. That one's not. Oh, there you go. Now if we stuck those to the board, would they both be going the same way? Well, that's definitely going forward, that one is. And this one doesn't seem to be doing anything, but I might need to adjust this slightly. There you go. Right, okay, so that's pulling forward, and that's pulling forward, that's pulling forward. Okay, so I've wired those the correct way, so now all that remains is for me to stick. I'm going to leave that pleasant curve of wire on there, so stick this one on, and stick this one on, tighten that up a bit. Alright, so now it's definitely doing something, and yet this should be following a black line. So it just so happens that the other side of the instructions were a racetrack. So let's put him on the racetrack and see what he does. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's quite impressive. Well, there you go. A little robot buggy for about £6 from eBay.